Today, we're digging into a pretty radical idea, one that might just change how you see the entire global economy. What if the most powerful currency in the world isn't the dollar in your wallet, but the energy that's powering your home right now? So, let's start with a really big question. What actually makes the world go round? We're always told it's money, right? Or maybe the stock market. But what if it's something way, way more fundamental than that? For as long as most of us can remember, the answer has always been this: the good old US dollar. But what if the true engine behind everything, from the phone in your hand to the food on your table, is actually this: pure, raw energy? That's what this explainer is all about. We're going to make the case that energy, not money, is the real hidden currency that our entire world is built on. So, let's dive in. First things first. To really get our heads around this, we need to take a step back and ask, what even is a currency? Because it's a lot more than just paper and coins. Sure, the dictionary will tell you it's a system of money. But for economists, for something to actually function as a true currency, it has to do three very specific jobs. And here they are. Number one, it has to be a store of value, meaning it holds its worth over time. Two, it needs to be a unit of account, a yardstick we can use to price things. And three, it's gotta be a means of exchange, something you can actually use to buy and sell stuff. Now the dollar, it checks all those boxes. But does energy? Well, here's the twist. Energy does all of these things, but on a much, much deeper level. It's what makes all physical production possible, from farming to manufacturing. It moves every single product we buy. It powers our entire civilization. And here's the kicker. You have to spend energy before a single dollar can ever be made. Money is just a claim on value. Energy is what creates that value to begin with. And, this isn't some crazy new idea. If you look back through history, you'll see that human wealth has pretty much always been measured in terms of energy. Just take a look at this. In ancient times, being rich wasn't about having gold coins. It was about having stored energy. Barns full of grain, herds of livestock, piles of firewood. Then you fast forward to the 1800s. The Industrial Revolution wasn't built on the British pound, it was built on coal. The 20th century was, without a doubt, the century of oil. And today, our entire economy runs on the most critical form of energy yet: electricity. Every major leap forward for humanity was, at its heart, an energy revolution. Okay, so if energy is really the bedrock of everything, why is everyone, from news anchors to world leaders, so obsessed with the US dollar as the global currency? Well, it really all comes down to history. After World War II, the Bretton Woods Agreement basically crowned the dollar as king, backed by a super strong US economy. But the real game changer, the move that sealed the deal, was the petrodollar system. Suddenly, all major oil deals were priced in dollars. This created a simple, unbreakable rule. If you want to buy the world's most important energy source, you need the world's reserve currency. The dollar and energy became tied at the hip. And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? It perfectly captures the fundamental difference. Governments can create trillions of dollars out of thin air. It's just numbers on a screen. But no one, not a single person or country, can print a barrel of oil or a lump of coal or a kilowatt hour of electricity. That has to be physically produced in the real world. Okay, let's run a quick thought experiment. Imagine tomorrow morning all money just vanishes. Poof. It would be absolute chaos for sure. But eventually we'd reboot. We'd figure it out. Now imagine a different scenario. All energy vanishes. No electricity, no fuel. The result? Total instantaneous collapse. Factories go dark, cars stop, phones die. In that world, your bank account is completely and utterly worthless. So this isn't just a fun theory. You can see this dynamic playing out in the real world every single day, from the highest levels of geopolitics right down to your own personal finances. I mean, just look at this. Russia's control over natural gas flows to Europe gives it incredible political power. The entire geopolitical map of the Middle East is drawn by who has oil and who sells it to whom. And for the huge growing economies in Asia, their entire national strategy revolves around one thing: securing enough energy to keep the lights on. It's clear that real-world power follows the flow of energy. And this hits you directly in the wallet. When the price of oil doubles, it's not just about paying more at the pump. Suddenly, the cost of transporting goods, producing food, and manufacturing everything goes up with it. That creates real physical inflation that no amount of fiddling with interest rates can fix. And looking to the future, This whole dynamic isn't just going to continue, it's probably going to get even more intense as the very form of our global energy currency starts to change. The new currency is becoming electricity, and we trade it in megawatt hours. As we shift to things like wind and solar, all these new valuable pieces are emerging. It's not just about making power anymore. Now it's about storing it in batteries, managing it with smart grids, and even selling your ability to be flexible with when you use energy. These are the new economic assets. We all just saw a brutal, real-world example of this with Europe's energy crisis. When Russia cut the physical supply of natural gas, prices went through the roof. Governments could throw billions and billions of euros at the problem, but money couldn't heat homes. Money couldn't power factories. The only thing that mattered was getting your hands on actual physical units of energy. So what's the big takeaway for you? Well, that electricity bill you get every month, it's a direct price tag on the true value of energy. That price you pay at the pump is a direct reflection of global politics. And maybe most importantly, your cost of living, inflation, and even your long-term investments are all fundamentally tangled up in the price and availability of energy. So if there's one thing to remember, it's this. The very definition of wealth is shifting. It's moving away from simply having a claim on value, which is all money is, and toward the ability to actually create value. And that comes from energy. And that leaves us with one final question to think about. As we move deeper into this electrified, decarbonized future, are we going to keep measuring our wealth in dollars? Or will the real unit of account become the kilowatt hour?